Warning, the following episode contains content not suitable for younger viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to Mass Effect 3. On the last episode, we finished off the Omega DLC by helping Aria take back her entire station. Fortunately, Nyreen perished, but it looks like Aria is trying to turn over a very tiny new leaf by not being as ruthless as she once was before, by sparing Petrovsky, who is now giving the Alliance some much-needed intel about Cerberus, and is technically a war asset now. Not to mention all the war assets that Aria gave us just for helping her. But on this episode, we are going to be starting the Citadel DLC, which is the final DLC in the game, and my favorite DLC in the entire game, other than maybe the extended cut, and, Leviathan? I really like Leviathan. But, not Leviathan. From Ashes. That's what I meant. But, first things first, we are in the med bay right now because we are going to be doing this. Reassign power bonuses. Now, these are the power bonuses that we can get from every single character throughout the game. Like these are all specific power bonuses that we can get from each squad mate, or just some are ones that we didn't pick at the beginning when we picked our bonus action. I think we picked like something about piercing ammo, something like that. Let me take a quick look. We picked cryo ammo. I think that's the one we picked. Or we picked carnage. One of those two we picked. We're switching that here because now we have the ability to choose flare. This we are going to be picking flare. And so now I think, yeah, Carnage is at the top now. So now when we look at our squad points, Carnage has been replaced with Flare. We're going to max the crap out of this because this is what we had with Aria, and that worked wonders. So, let's do damage. What else? Recharge speed. Yes, please. And damage in the shield and barriers by 75%. And we still have 9 points. We've hit max level, so we will not gain any experience from here on out. We've now hit max level. So let's just finish off. That'll give us 6. We only have enough to put points in one thing. So let's just use as many points as we can and give that to frag grenade. So we're left with 3 points, but that's fine. So we now have flare as one of our options. I can't actually switch our options yet until we actually get into a firefight, which we will probably be doing in this episode. Just like the past couple DLCs, I've only played this once, so it's a little bit hazy, but I think it should be fine. Unlike all the other DLCs that we played, and pretty much this entire game in general, Citadel is supposed to be a little bit more about comedy. So let's just enjoy this. There is something I'm worried about though for the Citadel. Oh, I start right here. Awesome. And we're gonna be choosing the personal apartment. So pretty. The cars in Mass Effect look weird though. These are how cars look like on Earth? Kind of hard to tell because Earth is kind of being destroyed right now.
Commander, I've got Admiral Anderson on the QEC. Patching him through to you now.
Shepard.
Admiral, how are you holding up?
Day by day, Commander.
Yeah. Hackett sent me a message about this apartment.
I want you to have it. Take it off my hands.
Are you serious?
You need a place that's yours. Somewhere to recharge, clear your head. Haley wanted us to settle down there. Thing is, the longer I'm on Earth, the less I want to leave. And I want as few loose ends out there as possible. Like I said, you'd be doing me a favor.
That's very generous.
It's practical. We need you in the best shape possible. Rested. Focused.
If you say so. Thank you.
And make Make yourself at home, damn it. It's yours now.
I'm sure I can manage.
Okay, good. Been meaning to do that for a while. I'll talk to you soon.
Be careful out there, Anderson.
You too, Shepard.
This is the best gift anyone's ever given me, other than the fact that Anderson gave me the Normandy in Mass Effect 1, and the Elusive Man gave me back my life and the Normandy 2 in Mass Effect 2. But we now have our own little apartment, which is pretty big. So we can go to that, check messages. I think that'll start the rest of the DLC, but let's just spend this time and explore what we just got. We now have, well, this computer here, right here. We now have a piano, which, we can get some Anderson biography notes.
You never asked me about this, but my wife just called. My ex-wife. Nobody likes to talk about the toll that long months apart can have on military relationships. She wasn't military. She couldn't handle it. But it's not even about military and non-military, damn it. It's space flight. Space flight. Finding the mass relays, miracles of engineering. Human imagination rising to meet our desires. We pay a price for that curiosity, that drive. Our relationships suffer. People we love suffer. But that's reality, and it's worth the cost. I must have thought it was. I guess I still do. In the end, you just have to hope you made the right choices.
So we're going to be finding a lot of these little biography things in here because this was Anderson's apartment. And if we walk over here, we'll find out exactly why he was doing these. In fact, it was probably the smart thing to do. We're going to hear that pulsation throughout the entire thing until we go check our messages. It's going to give me a headache. In fact, I think it's right there. So I just got closer to it. So here's an interview thing that she did. Here's another biography interview. Fine, I will do this. We can actually do this. Take a look at the catalog. You can actually customize everything if we want. That's how unique this is. So, the bathroom, well, we can't really do anything right now because technically we haven't bought anything for these. And we can't really do that until after we do the story parts of the Citadel. Oh, actually we could. The seating. Oh, no, we can't. Yeah, we can actually customize our apartment after we do what we're supposed to do here first for the actual DLC. Fine, shut up. All right, looks like Joker wants us to go meet him, so now it's going to update our journal. So that's now our new mission, to meet Joker. But like I said, we're going to be exploring this round. Anderson just left all his medals here. And ships. It looks like he's in the model ships just like Shepard is. There's a model of the Citadel up there. So all right, let's get through all these biographies first. So here's one for enlisting.
What was I talking about? Early days, right? People ask why I joined the military. Everyone talks about honor, duty, sure. But that's never the whole truth. It's 100 little things that add up to commitment. I joined because of a dog. Yeah, a dog. This patchy, mean son of a bitch that used to bark at me every day on my way to school. He'd snarl and I'd start running. Scared the hell out of me. I was just a kid. I remember being in a bad mood one morning. Angry, I can't recall why. When that dog started in on me, I snapped. Started barking right back. We both kept at it until we had nothing left. Dog never bothered me again. Why'd I join the military? Sometimes you just gotta howl to make things right.
That's a little odd, but it seems like Anderson. I mean, look at this painting. What is this painting?
No, it's fine. I got a few minutes. First contact war? Yeah. I was there. My first real combat. First for a lot of us. I remember one night early in the war. Strapped to my seat as our transport approached the LZ. Everyone was dead silent. Just the sound of breathing. Good men. I trained with all of them. We were always joking and horsing around, but not different and unknown as we could imagine. I knew I had to say something, keep the men relaxed. So I turned to the soldier beside me, Hendricks, I think, and asked him how his mother was doing. Fine, he said. Why? Because I heard your mama so ugly the Marines thought she was a Taurian. Almost shot her. I got a few smiles. Then Hendricks turned to me and said, Hell, Anderson, I heard it was a picture of your mama that started this goddamn war in the first place. Scared the Taurians shitless. Everyone had a good laugh at that. And the boys fought great that night. Sometimes that's all it takes. A joke, a pat on the back. Just a little reminder that everything's gonna be okay.
I probably should have done these later. Oh well. We got another thing right here for an Anderson A&N interview with the Alliance News Network. So what is this with Allers, or is this with Jelani?
A few months ago, I had a chance to sit down with one of Earth's most decorated soldiers, Admiral David Anderson. He was kind enough to answer my questions and talk about his career. Today, the Admiral is on Earth, leading the defense of our home against the Reapers. We have no communication with him or any soldiers on Earth, but we can't forget what they're doing for us. Tonight's show is dedicated to all of the soldiers out there, fighting and dying to keep us safe. Admiral Anderson, today marks the 30th anniversary of the N7 program. Can you describe your first day of training in this now famous program?
The Interplanetary Combatives Training Program is all business from day one.
How so?
We're given basic gear, then separated and stranded on an asteroid with no nav data. The test ends when the last person runs out of oxygen.
Sounds daunting. What happens to the ones who run out of air first?
Out of the program. The best N7s can survive alone, but work together to survive even longer.
That's very impressive, Admiral. Deep space survival training. That has to be so difficult. All of it would take such strength of character. Well, just plain strength. But then you seem like a strong person.
I'm sorry. Is there a question in there?
Well, does the program make the man? Or do you think you were born for this?
It's a bit of both, I suppose. Every soldier reaches a point in their career, sometimes more than once, when they are asked to give more than they ever thought they could. That moment is the test. I've seen men and women, almost sure to fail, persevere long past the point of breaking. That experience changes them. Others, with all the gifts and abilities, fail in that moment. Sometimes they pick themselves up and carry on. Sometimes they're just done.
What about you? What was your moment?
I've had a few. None of which I'd like to share. But I think the toughest tests are still ahead of me.
What makes you say that?
Call it a hunch.
Soldier's intuition?
Something like that.
Do you trust your intuition? I mean, do you follow your heart over your mind?
Well, it depends on the day. No, I suppose if I were to be honest, I do trust my instincts. The problem is, war isn't orderly. And the enemy is never predictable. Even the most experienced veteran is going to find themselves in situations they haven't trained for. In those instances, and there's more than I'd like to admit, your instincts are the only thing keeping you alive. That, and the men and women you're fighting beside.
But soldiers are only as good as their leader, isn't that true?
Yeah. A good leader can make an okay squad great. A bad leader, well, war tends to make examples of them.
What makes a good leader, then?
A good leader is someone who values the life of his men over the success of the mission, but understands that sometimes the cost of failing a mission is higher than the cost of losing those men.
That's a terrible line to have to walk.
Yes, it is. But war is a terrible thing.
Thank you for your time, Admiral.
Thank you.
The conduct this interview was to take a more personal look at Admiral Anderson's life. It wasn't finished when the Reapers invaded. We can only hope that the Admiral and the soldiers under his command survive to tell us the rest of their stories. I'm Kalisa Al-Jalani. Thank you for watching.
And that is why there's so many of these little personal biography things, because I think they were for the rest of that interview. I mean, we have one right here. Actually, this one is for the stereo control. Oh, sweet. I can listen to my jam here, too. Yeah, here's one for the Normandy. I actually should turn that off. I'm going to listen to any more. I think this episode is just going to be me walking through the apartment and... All right, fine, let's turn that off. Just walking through the apartment and listening to all these things, because it's already been 16 minutes. We still haven't even seen the upstairs yet. Yeah, because this place is 2 floors. Woohoo! And we haven't even seen the majority of the first floor. I mean, all we've seen is that room. So over here we saw part of this area. I like the little background that we have right here. We can't really go outside because there's no patio, but it just looks cool. You can see a couple of the stores, some pretty bright advertisements. There's a walkway up there. Casa Fabrications. Luckily, they have blinds here, so I'm almost certain they could turn that down. Have another biography thing right here for the N7 program, which I think is part of what we just heard, but I think it's completely different as well.
Embarrassing moments? I've got more of those than anyone will ever know. Only way to learn something. But if I had to pick one to share, I had just gotten promoted to N7. Full of myself. King of the castle. Found myself buying drinks for undesirables in some rundown bar in the wards. They toasted my recent promotion. Hell, they would have toasted Batarian slavers if it had got them more drinks. About the time my money ran out, my new friends turned on me. I was outnumbered. Things didn't look good. My plan to get out of there involved lots of punching. Well, that worked for a while. Then a table hit me. Or I fell down. When I came to, I saw a Solarian putting the rest of the troublemakers down. A Solarian? Moved like a damn cat, I swear. When everybody was out cold. Or running. He walked over and helped me up. N7, he asked. Yes, sir, I replied. He looked over my collection of unconscious friends, nodding. Not bad, human, he said. And he walked away. I had met my first Spectre. Learned an important lesson that day. No matter how good you think you are, there's always somebody quicker, faster, and a hell of a lot smarter than you just around the corner. That little lesson's kept me alive more than once since then.
And just to think, technically he'd become the first human Spectre a couple years after that. Because, although in Mass Effect 1 he says that he had a chance, I think he actually was labeled as the first human Spectre in secrecy, while Shepard was the first human Spectre that was completely wide broadcasted to the entire galaxy. So, unfortunate for him, but, I don't know, he's doing pretty good. He was a counselor for a brief moment, and now he's the highest ranking officer on Earth, so something's going good for him.
The Normandy? A brand new ship. My ship. You don't forget that moment. The first time you're standing there. The whole crew looking to you for direction. Unforgettable. I'd led men and women before that. Seen a lot of combat already. Always managed to find my way home in one piece. Do that a few times, you begin to think you know better than the next guy. Maybe you do, I don't know. But if you're lucky, really lucky, you find yourself on a good ship, in front of a good crew. A crew you can trust with your life. Gifted. Disciplined. Brave. All of them. Eager to set sail into the endless black ocean. I still remember my XO asking what my orders were. Shepard, I said, let's see what we can find.
And I think that was so long ago, too. Like, that was episode 1 of Mass Effect 1. That was... that's almost 2 years ago when we played that. That's frightening to think of. And in game, that was like 3 years ago for Shepard. Now he's been leader of the Normandy for God knows how long. Ooh, we can access the air controls here. I did see another thing, but we're going to be exploring a couple rooms while we're doing that. I've been staying next to the speakers so that we can at least hear what he has to say. So we have a bathroom right there. We got another bedroom right here, and another new questions biography here. So this isn't actually the master bedroom. You can see there's a punching bag. So this is more like a workout room. Pull-up bar, some extra pillows and stuff. So bathroom, kitchen, nice little dining room, and a bar or lounge. A lot of fire in this area. So yeah, let's get these two done, and then we'll finally head upstairs. I like the fridge.
Sure, I can talk about Commander Shepard. Big topic. There's been a lot written about the Commander, but most of it isn't true. People are quick to judge. They don't know the whole story. I don't even know the whole story. But I know the man. Worked with him. Fought with him. Trust him with my life. Shepard's had some rough patches. Who of us hasn't? He's been forced to fight a lot of battles alone. God only knows how he got out of some of that. Makes your head spin. Thing is, you never heard a complaint. Never once got, "No, sir, I can't do that." He never hesitated. Few people know what Shepard's been through. I'd like to think I come pretty close. And I worry sometimes he forgets. There's a whole bunch of people who lose sleep over him getting back home. Maybe it doesn't need to be said. Maybe we're too dumb to say it. Soldiers like the Commander are rare. Men like Shepard, even more rare.
I have a feeling he said that just because he knew I'd be taking his apartment. Stop with the flattery, Captain Anderson, or Admiral Anderson.
Okay. I have your new questions here. As a leader, do I ever feel that the end justify the means? Spirit of law over word of law. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but I think I know what you're after. You're referring to the way I, arranged to have the Normandy released to Commander Shepard before the Battle of the Citadel. I'm not sure how valuable hindsight is to the military. Obviously, it worked out for the best. Without the Normandy and Commander Shepard free to do what they needed to do, what we needed them to do, Saren might have taken the Citadel. I think it's clear what a different galaxy this would be if that had happened. I did what I had to. If I had been wrong, I would have gladly accepted the repercussions. The real trick is never being wrong. If you're looking for more action and less philosophy in these notes, let me know.
It doesn't hurt to have a good right hook, too. Punching the crap out of Udina. Not to mention knowing that you are going to be right. All right, so we're now finally upstairs. Got another little book area, like a little reading area right here. Got another node right there. 2 nodes, childhood, and we got one for the Turian experience, so kind of see that we're getting almost an entire life story of Admiral Anderson. Here's another stereo control. Got this weird piece of art. I think Kasumi would like it. And just another table. Whatever the crap this is. Maybe this is like a game console in the future. And over here, I think this is the main bedroom. We also have a weapon bench so we can modify our weapons. And armor lockers so we can modify our armor. Oh, hiccups. Yeah, so this is the main bedroom. Not a lot going on in here. Except for the bathroom with a shower. That's a toilet, not a shower. And a nice jacuzzi, which Shepard never goes in because Shepard is a witch, and the moment he starts getting wet, he'll melt. I do like the TV. Big TV. Big TVs in the future. All right, so we have 2 more of these, and then we're done, I think. We also have... Oh, we didn't even check this room yet. This room is like another... I guess a get best room. There's another book. Another biography. So we have 3 biographies left. So let's finish these off. Let's start with the childhood one.
Okay. So, tombstone data. Admiral David Edward Anderson. Not sure why anybody would be interested, but thanks for asking. I was born in London, June 8th, 2137. The last of 3 children born to Ursula and Paul Anderson. A nurse and a flight mechanic, respectively. But that's a little dry. And someone's gonna spice this up, right? Never been much for the spotlight. Anyway, where was I? It was a second marriage for my parents. They were almost 50 by the time they had me. My mother worked shifts, so my father would often take me to the base. While he worked, I watched transport ships and fighters take off. Worked his whole life around space travel, my father. But he never left Earth. Not for a day. He was a good man. But that's just a side note. Don't put that in. Who is it, Kaylee? Yes, I need to take that. I hope this is what you're after. I'll get to the more interesting N7 stuff next time.
Maybe he wasn't giving it to all Jelani. Maybe he was just doing it for a biography that he was planning on writing. Or someone was planning on writing for him. So we got two more.
The Turians. Well, I might not always see eye to eye with the politics and the individual, but I have a great respect for the Turian military. Any Alliance soldier lucky enough to take part in their training programs will certainly be better for it. Their precision, skill, and discipline come together in a way that's second to none. Not that I'm faulting our own people or training. It's just that after fighting Turians in the First Contact War, years later, I had the opportunity to observe and train on Palaven. It was a turning point for me. And I would encourage any soldier to try it. It's a unique experience to put yourself in the squad of a Turian commander. My commander was an uncompromising bastard named Bartix Oryx. If you can find him, just ask how the platoon I commanded was trounced in his strategy game. Humbling. But I've used what I learned that day many times. The xenophobes will have their say. But I think it's vital that we do more of this kind of cross-species training. There you go. And if you do find General Oryx, let me know. I owe him money.
I wonder how that would work. Like, when we as humanity finally find aliens, and if they actually do have a military that we could actually train with, how that would be.
You asked me to talk about the SSV Normandy, the Normandy SR-1. As commander of the Tokyo, I was consulted on the Normandy's design, and on board for her initial training exercises. The average person probably doesn't know that the Normandy was a joint project with the Turians. Acting CO, Eli Xander, was no diplomat. She ran out of patience with Turian posturing and politicking during construction. The chief architect of the Drive Corps, Octavio Tatum, and his team of Turian engineers were in the CIC for final training exercises. Tempers flared when Xander pushed the limits of the stealth system, waiting to vent the IES well past what Tatum was comfortable with. I tried to calm the situation, but it still ended with the Turian scientist in shackles and a human-Turian fistfight at Korra's den later. Funny now, when I first laid eyes on the Normandy, she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Day after that training run, Admiral Wright found me on the bridge. She's yours, he said. Can't trust her to Xander. Send me a list of crew from the Tokyo you'd like, and prep for your first mission. Short command thanks to Saren. Still, one of the highlights of a long career.
How long did he have that for? It must have been like a month or two when he had it. And I had it for probably a few months, and then it blew up. So the Normandy didn't really last that long, but the Normandy SR2 certainly has lasted longer. In fact, it's still around. We're still driving it. It just looks different with a new coat of paint and rooms moved around. So, I think that's everything inside the new apartment we just got, which is awesome. We spent 30 minutes just walking through the apartment, listening to everything about Admiral Anderson's life. So, I think on the next episode, we'll actually finally begin the actual part of the DLC by heading off over to go meet Joker, wherever he wants us to go meet. It looked like, I think if I remember correctly, the email said he wants to go get sushi. So I think we're gonna go get sushi with Joker. So until next time, hopefully you enjoy. Oh, not if I screw it up like that. Okay. let's just continue. I'm already 2/3 of the way through this area. Whoop. Yes, finally made the jump. There's a lot more jumps here, though. Oh, thank God. I made them all. You just continue going. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah! Highest possible rank achieved.